English for accounting. Lesson 1. Annual financial statement. Annual financial statement.
Báo cáo tài chính thường niên. Báo cáo tài chính thường niên.
Code of conduct. Code of conduct.
Bộ quy tắc ứng xử. Bộ quy tắc ứng xử.
Bookkeeper. Bookkeeper.
Kế toán chứng từ. Kế toán chứng từ.
Income tax. Income tax.
Thuế thu nhập. Thuế thu nhập.
Tax advisor. Tax advisor.
Cố vấn thuế. Cố vấn thuế.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 2. The annual financial statement shows if a company has made a profit or a loss. The annual financial statement shows if a company has made a profit or a loss.
Báo cáo tài chính thường niên cho thấy một công ty làm ăn có lãi hay bị thua lỗ.
All workers must follow the company's code of conduct. All workers must follow the company's code of conduct.
Mọi nhân viên phải tuân thủ bộ quy tắc ứng xử của công ty.
Small companies use bookkeepers for their daily accounting needs. Small companies use bookkeepers for their daily accounting needs.
Các công ty nhỏ sử dụng kế toán chứng từ cho nhu cầu kế toán hàng ngày của họ.
Income tax is the money the government takes out of your earnings in order to pay for government operations. Income tax is the money the government takes out of your earnings in order to pay for government operations.
Thuế thu nhập là khoản tiền mà chính phủ trích từ tổng thu nhập của bạn để chi cho việc vận hành chính phủ.
Large corporations often have a dedicated tax advisor to help them minimize the amount of tax that they need to pay. Large corporations often have a dedicated tax advisor to help them minimize the amount of tax that they need to pay.
Các tập đoàn lớn thường có một cố vấn thuế riêng để giúp họ giảm thiểu số tiền thuế phải trả.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 3. Auditor. Auditor.
Kiểm toán. Kiểm toán.
Creative accounting. Creative accounting.
Kế toán sáng tạo. Kế toán sáng tạo.
VAT, value added tax. VAT, value added tax.
Thuế giá trị gia tăng. Thuế giá trị gia tăng.
Payroll clerk. Payroll clerk.
Kế toán tiền lương. Kế toán tiền lương.
Confidentiality. Confidentiality.
Bảo mật. Bảo mật.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 4. The leaders of the company were scared when the team of auditors came to check their documents. The leaders of the company were scared when the team of auditors came to check their documents.
Ban lãnh đạo của công ty cảm thấy lo lắng khi đội kiểm toán đến kiểm tra chứng từ của công ty họ.
Accountants often use creative accounting to cheat the tax authority out of monies due. Accountants often use creative accounting to cheat the tax authority out of monies due.
Kế toán thường dùng kế toán sáng tạo để lừa cơ quan thuế về những khoản tiền còn nợ đọng.
The government have planned to increase the value added tax in 2 years. The government have planned to increase the value added tax in 2 years.
Chính phủ đã lên kế hoạch để tăng thuế giá trị gia tăng sau 2 năm nữa.
The director asked the payroll clerk to issue a special bonus to the best salesperson of the company. The director asked the payroll clerk to issue a special bonus to the best salesperson of the company.
Giám đốc đã yêu cầu kế toán tiền lương trao một phần thưởng đặc biệt cho nhân viên bán hàng giỏi nhất của công ty.
If you break the confidentiality, you will be dismissed immediately. If you break the confidentiality, you will be dismissed immediately.
Nếu bạn tiết lộ thông tin bảo mật, bạn sẽ bị sa thải ngay lập tức.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 5. Account. Account.
Tài khoản. Tài khoản.
Bank account. Bank account.
Tài khoản ngân hàng. Tài khoản ngân hàng.
Accounting standards. Accounting standards.
Chuẩn mực kế toán. Chuẩn mực kế toán.
Management accounting. Management accounting.
Kế toán quản trị. Kế toán quản trị.
Management accountant. Management accountant.
Kế toán viên quản trị hoặc cán bộ kế toán quản trị.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 6.
If you want to download that video, you need to create a user account and log into the website. If you want to download that video, you need to create a user account and log into the website.
Nếu bạn muốn tải video đó, bạn cần tạo một tài khoản người dùng và đăng nhập vào website.
My bank account is rarely over $500. My bank account is rarely over $500.
Tài khoản ngân hàng của tôi hiếm khi có nhiều hơn 500 đô.
All members of the accounting department should know the accounting standards well. All members of the accounting department should know the accounting standards well.
Mọi thành viên của phòng kế toán cần nắm rõ các chuẩn mực kế toán.
Management accounting is a method of accounting that creates statements and documents that help management in making better decisions related to their business performance. Management accounting is a method of accounting that creates statements and documents that help management in making better decisions related to their business performance.
Kế toán quản trị là một hình thức kế toán nhằm tạo ra các báo cáo và chứng từ để giúp cho ban quản lý đưa ra những quyết định phù hợp đối với việc kinh doanh của họ.
As per the management accountant, launching new products at this time is not a good strategy. As per the management accountant, launching new products at this time is not a good strategy.
Theo lời của kế toán viên quản trị, việc tung ra sản phẩm mới vào lúc này không phải là một chiến lược hay.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 7. Balance sheet. Balance sheet.
Bảng cân đối kế toán. Bảng cân đối kế toán.
CFO, Chief Financial Officer. CFO, Chief Financial Officer.
Giám đốc tài chính. Giám đốc tài chính.
Currency. Currency.
Tiền tệ. Tiền tệ.
In excess of. In excess of.
Nhiều hơn. Nhiều hơn.
Trial balance. Trial balance.
Bảng cân đối thử. Bảng cân đối thử.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting.
Lesson 8.
He couldn't explain the irregularities in the balance sheet, and I suspect him of taking the money. He couldn't explain the irregularities in the balance sheet, and I suspect him of taking the money.
Anh ta không giải thích được những bất thường trong bảng cân đối kế toán. Tôi nghi ngờ là anh ta đã lấy trộm tiền.
The CFO said that Microsoft was ready to launch new products into the soft market. The CFO said that Microsoft was ready to launch new products into the soft market.
Giám đốc tài chính cho biết Microsoft đã sẵn sàng để tung những sản phẩm mới vào thị trường phần mềm.
You can buy foreign currency from the bank. You can buy foreign currency from the bank.
Bạn có thể mua ngoại tệ từ ngân hàng.
The vehicle should travel at speeds in excess of 80 km per hour. The vehicle should travel at speeds in excess of 80 km per hour.
Phương tiện này nên chạy với tốc độ không vượt quá 80 km/h.
The trial balance can make the preparation of financial statements easier. The trial balance can make the preparation of financial statements easier.
Bảng cân đối thử có thể làm cho việc chuẩn bị các báo cáo tài chính trở nên dễ dàng hơn.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 9.
LLC, Limited Liability Company. LLC, Limited Liability Company.
Công ty trách nhiệm hữu hạn. Công ty trách nhiệm hữu hạn.
Due diligence. Due diligence.
Thẩm tra. Thẩm tra hoặc thẩm định.
Deferral. Deferral.
Sự trì hoãn. Sự trì hoãn.
Taxation, tax. Taxation, tax.
Thuế. Thuế.
Double taxation. Double taxation.
Đánh thuế 2 lần. Đánh thuế 2 lần.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 10. Tom is the owner of a limited liability company, so creditors cannot get at his private assets when the company goes bankrupt. Tom is the owner of a limited liability company, so creditors cannot get at his private assets when the company goes bankrupt.
Tom sở hữu một công ty trách nhiệm hữu hạn, Vì thế, các chủ nợ không thể động đến những tài sản cá nhân của anh ấy khi công ty bị phá sản.
We will only sign the contract after all due diligence has been done carefully. We will only sign the contract after all due diligence has been done carefully.
Chúng tôi chỉ ký hợp đồng sau khi việc thẩm định đã được thực hiện kỹ lưỡng.
The accountant applies for a deferral as she has not finished the tax calculation. The accountant applies for a deferral as she has not finished the tax calculation.
Kế toán đã nộp đơn xin hoãn vì cô ấy chưa tính xong thuế.
He argued with his friends about taxation. He argued with his friends about taxation.
Anh ấy tranh luận với bạn bè của mình về thuế.
Double taxation occurs when one source of income is taxed twice. Double taxation occurs when one source of income is taxed twice.
Đánh thuế hai lần là khi một nguồn thu phải chi hai lần thuế.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 11. Creditor. Creditor.
Chủ nợ. Chủ nợ.
Debtor. Debtor.
Con nợ. Con nợ.
Go bankrupt. Go bankrupt.
Phá sản. Phá sản.
Bankruptcy. Bankruptcy.
Sự phá sản. Sự phá sản.
Calculation. Calculation.
Sự tính toán. Sự tính toán.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 12. He assigns his car to his creditor. He assigns his car to his creditor.
Anh ta gán chiếc xe hơi của mình cho chủ nợ.
James used to be a big debtor. James used to be a big debtor.
James đã từng là một con nợ lớn.
She lost her job as her company went bankrupt. She lost her job as her company went bankrupt.
Cô ấy mất việc làm vì công ty bị phá sản.
They dare the danger of bankruptcy. They dare the danger of bankruptcy.
Họ dám đương đầu với nguy cơ phá sản.
There's an error in your calculation. There's an error in your calculation.
Có một lỗi sai trong cách tính toán của bạn.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 13. Final account. Final account.
Tài khoản quyết toán cuối năm. Tài khoản quyết toán cuối năm.
Reconcile. Reconcile.
Làm cho tương thích. Làm cho tương thích.
Sole trader. Sole trader.
Doanh nghiệp tư nhân. Doanh nghiệp tư nhân.
Accounting record. Accounting record.
Hồ sơ kế toán. Hồ sơ kế toán.
Ledger. Ledger.
Sổ cái. Sổ cái.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 14. Final account shows final results of the company in a specified period. Final account shows final results of the company in a specified period.
Báo cáo quyết toán thể hiện kết quả cuối cùng của công ty ở một giai đoạn cụ thể.
Our accountant often reconciles the bank account to the general ledger. Our accountant often reconciles the bank account to the general ledger.
Kế toán của chúng tôi thường làm cho tài khoản ngân hàng và sổ cái chung trở nên tương thích.
Sole traders don't have to meet as many accounting requirements as large corporations do. Sole traders don't have to meet as many accounting requirements as large corporations do.
Các doanh nghiệp tư nhân không cần tuân thủ nhiều yêu cầu về kế toán như các tập đoàn lớn.
A company's accounting records must be open for inspection at all times. A company's accounting records must be open for inspection at all times.
Hồ Hồ sơ kế toán của một công ty phải luôn mở để phục vụ việc kiểm tra.
Reconciling the bank account to the general ledger is an important task. Reconciling the bank account to the general ledger is an important task.
Làm cho tài khoản ngân hàng và sổ cái tổng hợp trở nên tương thích là một nhiệm vụ quan trọng.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 15. Debit. Debit.
Nợ. Nợ.
Credit. Credit.
Có. Có.
Sales ledger clerk. Sales ledger clerk.
Kế toán bán hàng. Kế toán bán hàng.
Purchase ledger clerk. Purchase ledger clerk.
Kế toán mua hàng. Kế toán mua hàng.
Agreement. Agreement.
Thỏa thuận. Thỏa thuận.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 16. Please record the invoice as a debit before paying it. Please record the invoice as a debit before paying it.
Hãy nhập số tiền trên hóa đơn vào bên nợ trước khi thanh toán.
By totaling the credits, we see that they owe us $500,000. By totaling the credits, we see that they owe us $500,000.
Khi cộng tổng bên có, chúng tôi thấy rằng họ còn nợ chúng tôi $500,000.
The sales ledger clerk knows how much we are owed by our clients. The sales ledger clerk knows how much we are owed by our clients.
Kế toán bán hàng biết khách hàng còn nợ chúng tôi bao nhiêu.
The purchase ledger clerk knows how much we owe our suppliers. The purchase ledger clerk knows how much we owe our suppliers.
Kế toán mua hàng biết chúng tôi còn nợ nhà cung cấp bao nhiêu tiền.
After meeting for 4 hours, we finally came to an agreement. After meeting for 4 hours, we finally came to an agreement.
Chúng tôi đã đạt được một thỏa thuận sau cuộc họp kéo dài 4 giờ.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 17. Internal Auditor. Internal Auditor.
Kiểm toán nội bộ. Kiểm toán nội bộ.
External Auditor. External Auditor.
Kiểm toán thuê ngoài. Kiểm toán thuê ngoài.
Principal. Principal.
Nguyên tắc. Nguyên tắc.
Sufficient. Sufficient.
Đủ. Đủ.
Value. Value.
Giá trị. Giá trị.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 18. An internal auditor is an employee of a company who is responsible for inspecting its accounts. An internal auditor is an employee of a company who is responsible for inspecting its accounts.
Kiểm toán nội bộ là nhân viên chịu trách nhiệm kiểm tra các tài khoản của công ty.
An external auditor is a person employed by an outside firm of accountants and hired by a company. An external auditor is a person employed by an outside firm of accountants and hired by a company.
Kiểm toán thuê ngoài là nhân viên của một công ty kế toán khác, được thuê đến để thực hiện việc kiểm toán.
We have made use of a basic principle to solve the problem. We have made use of a basic principle to solve the problem.
Chúng tôi đã tận dụng một nguyên tắc cơ bản để giải quyết vấn đề đó.
The corporation does not have sufficient funds to pay its suppliers. The corporation does not have sufficient funds to pay its suppliers.
Tập đoàn không có đủ quỹ để thanh toán cho các nhà cung cấp của mình.
The value of the prize is $50,000. The value of the prize is $50,000.
Giải thưởng có giá trị $50.000.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 19.
Off-balance sheet. Off-balance sheet.
Ngoài bảng cân đối. Ngoài bảng cân đối.
Asset. Asset.
Tài sản. Tài sản.
Legal. Legal.
Hợp pháp. Hợp pháp.
Illegal. Illegal.
Bất hợp pháp. Bất hợp pháp.
Profit. Profit.
Lợi nhuận. Lợi nhuận.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 20. Off-balance sheet refers to the assets and liabilities not appearing on an entity's balance sheet, but still belong to the enterprise. Off-balance sheet refers to the assets and liabilities not appearing on an entity's balance sheet, but still belong to the enterprise.
Ngoài bảng cân đối đề cập đến tài sản và trách nhiệm pháp lý không xuất hiện trên bảng cân đối kế toán của doanh nghiệp, nhưng thực tế là chúng vẫn thuộc về doanh nghiệp đó.
Good health is a great asset. Good health is a great asset.
Sức khỏe là tài sản lớn.
Independence Day is one of Vietnam's legal holidays. Independence Day is one of Vietnam's legal holidays.
Quốc khánh là một trong những ngày nghỉ hợp pháp ở Việt Nam.
It is illegal to sell tobacco to someone under 16. It is illegal to sell tobacco to someone under 16.
Bán thuốc lá cho người dưới 16 tuổi là bất hợp pháp.
Our daily profit is usually around $500. Our daily profit is usually around $500.
Mức lợi nhuận hàng ngày của chúng tôi là $500.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 21. Lease. Lease.
Sự cho thuê. Sự cho thuê.
Liabilities. Liabilities.
Nợ phải trả. Nợ phải trả.
Contract. Contract.
Hợp đồng. Hợp đồng.
Transaction. Transaction.
Giao dịch. Giao dịch.
Shareholder. Shareholder.
Cổ đông. Cổ đông.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 22.
Match the words with their meanings.
Column A. 1. Lease. 2. Shareholder. 3. Liabilities. 4. Transaction. 5. Contract. Column B. A. A written agreement between two or more parties. B. Buying or selling something. C. Someone who owns parts of a company. D. Money that is owed. E. An agreement where the owner of something allows someone else to use it for a specific time for a sum of money. You now have some time to do the exercise before we provide you with the answers. The correct answers are 1. E. 2. C. 3. D. 4. B. 5. A.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 23. One. Underlying assumption. 1. Underlying assumption.
Giả định cơ bản của kế toán. Giả định cơ bản của kế toán.
2. Going concern. 2. Going concern.
Hoạt động liên tục. Hoạt động liên tục.
3. Materiality concept. 3. Materiality concept.
Nguyên tắc trọng yếu. Nguyên tắc trọng yếu.
4. Accruals basis. 4. Accruals basis.
Nguyên tắc cơ sở dồn tích. Nguyên tắc cơ sở dồn tích.
5. Matching concept. 5. Matching concept.
Nguyên tắc phù hợp. Nguyên tắc phù hợp.
6. Prudence concept. 6. Prudence concept.
Nguyên tắc thận trọng. Nguyên tắc thận trọng.
7. Substance over form. 7. Substance over form.
Nguyên tắc coi trọng nội dung hơn hình thức. Nguyên tắc coi trọng nội dung hơn hình thức.
8. Business entity concept. 8. Business entity concept.
Nguyên tắc thực thể kinh doanh. Nguyên tắc thực thể kinh doanh.
9. Fair presentation. 9. Fair presentation.
Nguyên tắc trình bày hợp lý. Nguyên tắc trình bày hợp lý.
10. Consistency concept. 10. Consistency concept.
Nguyên tắc nhất quán. Nguyên tắc nhất quán.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 24. Share. Share.
Cổ phần. Cổ phần.
Private company. Private company.
Công ty tư nhân. Công ty tư nhân.
Public company. Public company.
Công ty đại chúng. Công ty đại chúng.
Party. Party.
Bên ký hợp đồng. Bên ký hợp đồng.
Depend. Depend.
Phụ thuộc. Phụ thuộc.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 25. Buying shares makes you a part owner of a company. Buying shares makes you a part owner of a company.
Mua cổ phiếu khiến bạn trở thành người sở hữu một phần của công ty.
A private company is not quoted in the stock market. A private company is not quoted in the stock market.
Công ty tư nhân không được niêm yết trên thị trường chứng khoán.
A public company sells its share to anyone who wants to buy them. A public company sells its share to anyone who wants to buy them.
Công ty đại chúng bán cổ phần của nó cho bất kỳ ai muốn mua.
Party A is the buyer. Party B is the seller. Party A is the buyer. Party B is the seller.
Bên A là bên mua, bên B là bên bán.
The outcome will depend on a number of factors. The outcome will depend on a number of factors.
Kết quả sẽ phụ thuộc vào một số yếu tố.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 26. Long term. Long term.
Dài hạn. Dài hạn.
Short term. Short term.
Ngắn hạn. Ngắn hạn.
Purchase. Purchase.
Mua. Mua.
Burden. Burden.
Gánh nặng. Gánh nặng.
Burden. Burden.
Đè nặng. Đè nặng.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 27. We need to look at the long-term liabilities before buying anything new. We need to look at the long-term liabilities before buying anything new.
Chúng ta cần xem lại các khoản nợ dài hạn trước khi mua thêm bất kỳ thứ gì mới.
Short-term debt is debt that must be paid within 1 year. Short-term debt is debt that must be paid within 1 year.
Nợ ngắn hạn là khoản nợ phải trả trong vòng 1 năm.
You can purchase insurance online. You can purchase insurance online.
Bạn có thể mua bảo hiểm trực tuyến.
The manager carries the greatest burden of responsibility. The manager carries the greatest burden of responsibility.
Người quản lý phải gánh trách nhiệm lớn nhất.
Some developing countries are burdened with debts. Some developing countries are burdened with debts.
Một số nước đang phát triển nợ nần chồng chất hoặc bị nợ nần đè nặng.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 28. Match the words to their meanings. 1. Confidentiality. 2. Income tax. 3. Creative accounting. 4. Purchase ledger clerk. 5. Local accounting standards.
A. The member of the accounting team who deals with suppliers, issues payment for goods and services and keeps track of expenditure. B. The state of being secret and kept secret. C. The tax which is due on personal earnings. D. The set of rules and laws for a country which govern how accounts should be prepared. E. The use of holes in financial law to have an advantage or to show figures in a deceptive way.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting.
Lesson 29.
Match the words to its meanings. 1. Management accountant. 2. Auditor. 3. Annual financial statements. 4. Tax advisor. 5. Bookkeeper.
A. The set of accounts which are prepared each year. B. A specialist who is able to give advice on matters of taxation. C. A specialist whose job is to carefully check the accounts and accounting practices of a company. D. A person, who may or may not be qualified, that records the financial transactions of a business. E. A senior member of the accounting team, who liaises with company owners, directors and advises on the financial aspects of any planned action.
You now have some minutes to do the exercise before comparing your answers to the keys.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting.
Lesson 30.
Match the words to its meanings. 1. Payroll clerk. 2. Sales ledger clerk. 3. Code of conduct. 4. Value added tax. 5. Long-term debt.
A. A set of rules, often used within a company, which show the correct way to behave. B. The member of the accounting team who deals with employees. C. Debt with maturities greater than 12 months. D. The member of the accounting team who deals with sales, raises invoices and collects payment. E. The tax which is due on the difference between the value of a product or service and the cost of its production.
You now have some minutes to do the exercise before comparing your answers to the keys. One, B, 2, D, 3, A, 4, E, 5, C.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 31. Dividend. Dividend.
Cổ tức. Cổ tức.
Cash dividend. Cash dividend.
Cổ tức trả bằng tiền mặt. Cổ tức trả bằng tiền mặt.
Stock dividend. Stock dividend.
Cổ tức trả bằng cổ phiếu. Cổ tức trả bằng cổ phiếu.
Earnings. Earnings.
Thu nhập. Thu nhập.
Retained earnings. Retained earnings.
Lợi nhuận giữ lại. Lợi nhuận giữ lại.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 32. The dividend stays at 0.5%. The dividend stays at 0.5%.
Cổ tức vẫn giữ ở mức 0,5%.
Cash dividend is an amount of money paid from the profit made by a company to its shareholders. Cash dividend is an amount of money paid from the profit made by a company to its shareholders.
Cổ tức tiền mặt là khoản tiền một công ty lấy từ lợi nhuận của mình để trả cho các cổ đông.
A stock dividend is a dividend paid to shareholders in the form of additional shares in the company, rather than as cash. A stock dividend is a dividend paid to shareholders in the form of additional shares in the company, rather than as cash.
Cổ tức cổ phần là loại cổ tức trả cho các cổ đông dưới dạng cổ phần của công ty, chứ không phải bằng tiền mặt.
My earnings last year were $10,000. My earnings last year were $10,000.
Thu nhập của tôi năm ngoái là $10.000.
Higher retained earnings will result in lower dividends paid out to shareholders. Higher retained earnings will result in lower dividends paid out to shareholders.
Lợi nhuận giữ lại cao sẽ khiến cổ tức trả cho cổ đông giảm xuống.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 33. Tangible. Tangible.
Hữu hình. Hữu hình.
Tangible assets. Tangible assets.
Tài sản hữu hình. Tài sản hữu hình.
Intangible. Intangible.
Vô hình. Vô hình.
Intangible assets. Intangible assets.
Tài sản vô hình. Tài sản vô hình.
Trademark. Trademark.
Thương hiệu. Thương hiệu.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 34. They have no tangible evidence of his guilt. They have no tangible evidence of his guilt.
Họ không có bằng chứng hữu hình về tội lỗi của anh ta.
The house is his only tangible asset. The house is his only tangible asset.
Ngôi nhà là tài sản hữu hình duy nhất của ông ấy.
The benefits are intangible. The benefits are intangible.
Những lợi ích thì vô hình.
The basis of valuation for intangible assets is cost. The basis of valuation for intangible assets is cost.
Cơ sở để định giá tài sản vô hình là giá thành.
Vinamilk is a registered trademark. Vinamilk is a registered trademark.
Vinamilk là một thương hiệu đã được đăng ký.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 35. Tax avoidance. Tax avoidance.
Tránh thuế. Tránh thuế.
Tax evasion. Tax evasion.
Trốn thuế. Trốn thuế.
Tax bracket. Tax bracket.
Khung thuế. Khung thuế.
Tax exempt. Tax exempt.
Miễn thuế. Miễn thuế.
Tax exile. Tax exile.
Người lưu vong để tránh thuế. Người lưu vong để tránh thuế.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 36. I have to say I disapprove of tax avoidance. I have to say I disapprove of tax avoidance.
Tôi không ủng hộ việc tránh thuế.
He is in prison for tax evasion. He is in prison for tax evasion.
Anh ta bị bỏ tù vì trốn thuế.
Peter's salary puts him in the highest tax bracket. Peter's salary puts him in the highest tax bracket.
Mức lương tháng của Peter khiến anh ấy phải chịu khung thuế cao nhất.
Basic goods would be tax exempt, to protect low-income consumers. Basic goods would be tax exempt, to protect low-income consumers.
Các mặt hàng cơ bản được miễn thuế nhằm bảo vệ người tiêu dùng thu nhập thấp.
She is living as a tax exile in Monaco. She is living as a tax exile in Monaco.
Cô ấy là một người lưu vong trốn thuế ở Monaco.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 37. Abolish. Abolish.
Bãi bỏ. Bãi bỏ.
Impose. Impose.
Áp đặt. Áp đặt.
Increase. Increase.
Tăng. Tăng.
Decrease. Decrease.
Giảm. Giảm.
Return. Return.
Trả lại. Trả lại.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 38. The government wants to abolish the tax. The government wants to abolish the tax.
Chính phủ muốn bãi bỏ thuế.
You impose too much on me, so I am really tired. You impose too much on me, so I am really tired.
Tôi cảm thấy mệt mỏi vì bạn áp đặt lên tôi quá nhiều thứ.
Our main aim is to increase sales in Asia. Our main aim is to increase sales in Asia.
Mục đích chính của chúng tôi là tăng lượng hàng bán được ở châu Á.
People should decrease the amount of fat they eat. People should decrease the amount of fat they eat.
Con người nên giảm lượng mỡ mà họ tiêu thụ.
Please return these books to the library in a week. Please return these books to the library in a week.
Hãy trả lại những quyển sách này cho thư viện sau một tuần nữa.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 39. Match the expressions to their definitions. 1. To abolish tax. 2. To impose tax. 3. To increase tax. 4. To decrease tax. 5. Tax return. A. Tax report. B. To cancel a tax. C. To make the tax go down. D. To introduce a new tax on something. E. To make the tax go up. You now have some time to do the exercise before comparing your answers to the keys. Keys. 1. B. 2. D. 3. E. 4. C. 5. A.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 40. Match the expressions to their definitions. 1. Tax avoidance. 2. Tax bracket. 3. Tax evasion. 4. Tax exempt. 5. Tax exile. A. Someone who lives in another country for tax reasons. B. When you don't have to pay tax on certain income. C. Tells you what amount of tax to pay based on income. D. Trying not to pay tax, legally. Trying not to pay tax, illegal. You now have some time to do the exercise before comparing your answers to the keys. Keys. 1. D. 2. C. 3. E. 4. B. 5. A.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 41. Use words from the box to fill in the gaps. Abolish. Bracket. Exile. Increase. Return. 1. The government needs more money, so it is planning to, blah blah, taxes. 2. He earns a lot of money, he must be in the highest tax, blah blah. 3. She lives there because she has to, she's a tax, blah blah. 4. They are planning to, blah blah, the tax on large company cars, and replace it with a tax on all company cars. 5. A tax, blah blah, is the same as tax declaration, it's a list of income and tax deductible expenditure for the tax authority. You now have some time to do the exercise before comparing your answers to the keys. Keys. 1. The government needs more money, so it is planning to increase taxes. 2. He earns a lot of money, he must be in the highest tax bracket. 3. She lives there because she has to, she's a tax exile. 4. They are planning to abolish the tax on large company cars, and replace it with a tax on all company cars. 5. A tax return is the same as tax declaration, it's a list of income and tax-deductible expenditure for the tax authority.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 42. Tax break. Tax break.
Sự giảm thuế. Sự giảm thuế.
Liabilities. Liabilities.
Nợ phải trả. Nợ phải trả.
Property tax. Property tax.
Thuế nhà đất. Thuế nhà đất.
Wealth tax. Wealth tax.
Thuế tài sản. Thuế tài sản.
Progressive tax. Progressive tax.
Thuế lũy tiến. Thuế lũy tiến.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 43. The government has introduced new tax breaks for IT companies. The government has introduced new tax breaks for IT companies.
Chính phủ vừa thông báo chính sách giảm thuế mới đối với các công ty công nghệ.
The business has liabilities of £2 million. The business has liabilities of £2 million.
Khoản nợ phải trả của doanh nghiệp là 2 triệu bảng.
The new property tax law won't directly affect us. The new property tax law won't directly affect us.
Luật thuế nhà đất mới sẽ không ảnh hưởng trực tiếp đến chúng tôi.
Unlike France, Belgium has no wealth tax. Unlike France, Belgium has no wealth tax.
Khác với nước Pháp, nước Bỉ không có thuế tài sản.
A progressive tax structure is one in which the average tax rate rises with an individual's income level. A progressive tax structure is one in which the average tax rate rises with an individual's income level.
Cấu trúc thuế lũy tiến là cấu trúc mà tỷ lệ thuế trung bình tăng theo mức thu nhập cá nhân.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 44. Buy on credit. Buy on credit.
Mua trả sau. Mua trả sau.
Buy on account. Buy on account.
Mua trả sau. Mua trả sau.
Cashier. Cashier.
Thủ quỹ. Thủ quỹ.
Balance. Balance.
Số dư. Số dư.
Debit balance. Debit balance.
Dư nợ. Dư nợ.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 45. He bought the furniture on credit. He bought the furniture on credit.
Anh ấy mua trả sau những món đồ nội thất.
We bought the dishwasher on account. We bought the dishwasher on account.
Chúng tôi mua trả sau cái máy rửa bát này.
She is a cashier in a bank. She is a cashier in a bank.
Cô ấy là một thủ quỹ ở ngân hàng.
The patient paid the bill in full, so his balance is zero now. The patient paid the bill in full, so his balance is zero now.
Bệnh nhân đã thanh toán hết hóa đơn, nên số dư của ông ấy bằng 0.
Each asset account has a debit balance. Each asset account has a debit balance.
Mỗi tài khoản tài sản đều có một số dư nợ.
Thank you for watching.
English for Accounting. Lesson 46. Debit. Debit.
Bên nợ. Bên nợ.
Credit. Credit.
Bên có. Bên có.
Accounting records. Accounting records.
Sổ sách kế toán. Sổ sách kế toán.
Pay in full. Pay in full.
Trả hết. Trả hết.
Pay half. Pay half.
Trả một nửa. Trả một nửa.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting. Lesson 47. Debit amounts are bracketed. Debit amounts are bracketed.
Số tiền ghi nợ được để trong ngoặc đơn.
Every debit must have a corresponding credit and vice versa. Every debit must have a corresponding credit and vice versa.
Mọi khoản ghi nợ phải có một khoản ghi có tương ứng và ngược lại.
She needs to reconcile bank statements with the accounting records. She needs to reconcile bank statements with the accounting records.
Cô ấy cần cân đối sao kê ngân hàng với sổ sách kế toán.
The debt must be paid in full. The debt must be paid in full.
Cần phải thanh toán hết khoản nợ đó.
She could only pay half the amount. She could only pay half the amount.
Cô ấy chỉ có thể trả một nửa số tiền đó.
Thank you for watching.
English for accounting.
Express Series, English for Accounting, by Evan Friendo and Sean Mahoney. Published and copyright Oxford University Press, 2007. Unit 1. Exercise 2.
Mr. Martins will be with you in a moment. He's just finishing a phone call.
Thank you.
Would you like some coffee?
Yes, that would be great. Milk, no sugar, please.
Here you are.
Thank you. Is this the whole department?
No, not at all. On this floor we have the trainee accountants and the bookkeepers.
Uh-huh. And does everyone work in the open plan area?
No, some of the managers have individual offices. The two big offices on the left are for the company treasurer and for our senior tax accountant.
Ah.
The offices on the right are for our cost accountant and for our budget manager.
Mm-hmm. And the office in the corner of the open plan area?
That's used by our back office manager.
Ah. And you have offices downstairs as well?
Yes, that's correct. Downstairs are the internal auditors, and at the moment we have a team of external auditors. They're in one of the conference rooms at the end of the corridor.
Oh, I see.
Unit 1. Exercise 3.
Ah, Mr. Martins. This is Michael Rogers.
Ah, yes. Hello, Michael. I'm Paul. It's nice to meet you. Sorry to keep you waiting. Please come in and take a seat. Did you have a nice flight?
Yes, thanks, Paul. Finding the office was a little more difficult, though. I'm glad so many people here in Brussels can speak English.
Oh, yes. We're very international here now, but that's not a bad thing, I must say.
A little cultural mix is good, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. Would you like to start by telling me a little about your experience, Michael? Your CV is very impressive. And then I'll fill you in on our group and the particular requirements we have for this position.
Yes, that's fine. I guess you know from my CV that I studied economics in New York.
Exercise 12.
Morning, Charles. You wanted to see me?
Yeah, hi, Sally. About our board meeting next week, you know we'll be discussing our debt problems.
Of course. Probably our biggest issue at the moment.
Right. The shareholders are getting nervous and the markets don't like our level of gearing. We're getting more and more questions about whether we can service our debt in the long term. It's getting harder to attract new investments, so I wanted to speak to you about what we can do. We're investing a significant amount in our new factory in Germany, so we need to come up with a solution soon. The new factory is very important and we're looking at leasing the assets, and that's where you come in. Tell me what we can do with leases on the balance sheet. What's allowed in this country?
Is this a business decision to lease these assets?
Let's just say it's one possibility we're looking at.
You're thinking that if we lease the assets, we can exclude these liabilities from the balance sheet?
Exactly.
You know that the auditors will look very closely at these transactions. The accounting standards, or principles if you like, mean that finance leases must be disclosed. If we are effectively the owner of these assets, then we're not going to have a choice.
And how do we determine the owner?
That depends on the conditions in the contract.
That shouldn't be a problem. And then we can call them...
operating leases. But remember, auditors and the markets are now very sensitive to these things. We can't afford to be seen as trying to mislead anyone.
Of course not. But for the meeting next week, have a think about it, OK?
Yeah, I'll try and bring some ideas.
Great. See you later.
OK, bye.
Unit 1. Exercise 15. 1.
He'll have paid his debts off by next year.
2.
Look at the assets and liabilities on the balance sheet if you want to know how the company's doing.
3.
Many developing countries are burdened by heavy debt.
4.
We need to look at the long-term liabilities before we think about any major new purchases.
5.
The partnership has limited liability status.
6.
Current liabilities are those which are paid off within a year.
7.
The company's in debt to the tune of 10 million.
Unit 2. Exercise 4. C. 23.56. C. 10,001. B. £63.30, or D. £63.30. C. 5,400,342. A. €45,638. A. The year 1999. Or D. The phone number, room number or other figure 1999. B. The phone number, room number or other figure 2003. Or C. The year 2003. Unit 2. Exercise 7.
Okay, Norma has asked me to go over some of the ratios I used in the report which I sent you last week. The first of these is on page 3, working capital. Everyone got it?
Yep.
Okay. Working capital is quite simple. It's the current assets divided by the current liabilities. Any questions?
Yes, well, what's it for?
Well, it basically tells us whether we have enough short-term assets to cover our short-term debt. If we don't, we could be in trouble. Okay? Good. Next is return on assets. This is net income plus interest expense divided by total assets. Before you ask, it allows us to evaluate the way we use our assets. It can help us decide whether or not we should start a new project, for example, by comparing the return expected against the normal borrowing costs. Is that clear?
I have a question. What's debt-asset ratio?
I was just coming to that. It's the total assets divided by total liabilities. It tells us what proportion of the enterprise's assets are being financed through the use of debt. If this ratio is high in a market with increasing interest rates, creditors are going to get worried. The debt-asset ratio determines the funding leverage of the enterprise. Okay, if there are no questions, I'd like to move on to the next fascinating
topic. Unit 2, Exercise 10. 1.
Norma has asked me to go over some of the ratios I used in the report.
2.
Everyone got it?
3.
Before you ask.
4.
Is that clear?
5.
I was just coming to that.
6.
Okay, if there are no questions, I'd like to...
Unit 2, Output. Accountant.
The financial statements of a company are the most important documents that a company produces. Investors, creditors, banks, customers, everybody reads the statements. The accounts show what a company does with its money, how profitable it is, and also how risk-worthy it is. And you can see warning signs for the future. Our stock exchanges depend on properly prepared accounts.
Trader.
I agree that the accounts of the company have a lot of information, but it's very hard to understand it all. In my job, I need to know the financial situation of a company. People interested in the stock exchanges rely on experts like me, but there are also many other sources of information. As for the accounting rules, they don't interest me or anyone else at all. That's stuff for the accountants.
Investor.
All those numbers, and I haven't got a clue what they all mean. Pages and pages of them. And apparently they are often only estimates, or they can be interpreted in one of many ways. What's the point when the accountants themselves can't agree on how to show the numbers? Most of us need a lot more information and knowledge about a company than what we get in the accounts.
Layman. Is it all really that hard? Can't we just look at the profit or loss of the company to find out how it's doing? I don't see all the fuss. Accountants are there to tell us about the numbers, and I thought that's what they do. They are trained to report these numbers, and it can't be that hard to count up everything that's happened. Managing Director.
This is exactly the problem. There are many ways to change the numbers to give a better picture. Some of my peers have been guilty of doing just that. The accountants and auditors have to take responsibility for the way that numbers are reported. Accountants and their work are extremely important. They just need to make it all a little easier to understand.
Unit 3, Exercise 1.
So, could you just go over depreciation again?
Sure. I've prepared a quick list of the different types, like you asked.
Great.
Okay, let's see. Well, you know that normal accounting treatment means that a fixed asset has to be written off over its useful life. Basically, we look at the cost of the item and take away its estimated scrap value. Then we use a depreciation method to write it off.
Yes, of course. It's 5 years for computers, I think.
Right. Well, as you say, there are different ways of doing this. Let's see. Straight line, declining balance, sum of the years, digits, unit of production, hours of use. If you look at this list, you can see a description of each of these methods.
Oh, yes, I see. Yes, that's very useful.
Unit 3, Exercise 4.
We've got a few minutes to ourselves. Could you just go over it again? How is the taxation expense calculated?
OK. The operating profit minus our interest expenses gives us the profit before tax figure. This is the amount which, theoretically, is then subject to taxation. In fact, the taxation amount is just an estimate because we won't know until much later exactly how much tax we'll have to pay.
What do we do with this estimate?
In effect, we prepare an interim tax return. It won't be filed, just kept by us to justify the taxation expense we include in the P&L.
Will this also be audited?
Yes. And of course, the profit after tax is the figure which we can distribute to shareholders.
What do we do when the taxable income differs from the profit before tax?
We record what happens on the balance sheet. It's either a net deferred tax asset or liability.
Unit 3, Exercise 6.
Hi, Javier. How's it going?
It's not easy, all this English. We didn't do any of this on my course.
Can I help?
Well, maybe you could clarify a couple of things. Let's see. Here we are. Provision for income taxes. What does that mean?
Okay. Provision means putting money aside so that we have something to pay with later. So, provision for income taxes is talking about the current year's tax expense which will have to be paid in the future.
Like provisional?
Not exactly. Provisional just means temporary. Not final. Like a provisional budget. It's not the final version.
I see. And what about deferred income tax balances? What does deferred mean?
Basically, put off to another day. The income has been recognised in the accounts, but the tax owing on that income will only be realised in the future.
Oh, okay. How does that affect associated companies?
Well, it depends. Associated companies and affiliates are a special case. Deferred taxes are not normally recognised on undistributed earnings, but only if the plan is to reinvest the profits.
So, if we don't invest the profits, we pay tax?
Exactly.
Unit 3, Exercise 10.
These costs clearly relate to the repair and maintenance of our machines.
But in your financial statements, you argue that this expenditure was to upgrade, and you have capitalized it all. At first glance, it appears clear that...
Excuse me, but you know as well as I do that the accounting and tax regulations allow for different definitions of what we can capitalize and what we must expense.
Yes, but it's easy to work out the type of costs you have from the descriptions in your accounts. And, based on our interpretations of the laws, this seems to be capital expenditure, which you can, of course, depreciate.
We're going to take this further. I'm afraid I can't agree with your comments.
Look, I'm sorry, but this conversation is going nowhere. I suggest you make a submission and send it to our office. We can then consider your arguments in detail.
Fine. I'll do it today. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.
Unit 4, Exercise 1.
Claude Bernot?
Hi, Claude. It's Janet. You wanted to chat?
Hi, Janet. Great, you got my message. Thanks for getting back to me so quickly.
You're welcome. How can I help?
Well, it's about your preliminary report. There are a couple of things I think we need to discuss.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I have it in front of me.
Hang on, I'll just find my notes. Okay. The first point is on page 11, third paragraph. What do you mean exactly?
Okay, let's have a look. Oh, yes. Capitalization of costs in your factories. We think that these costs should be expenses in the P&L.
But, no, sorry, I'm afraid I disagree. They were necessary for the upgrade of our plant. Surely you agree that we have to keep up with the competition.
Yes, of course, but lots of the items we tested are clearly normal repair and maintenance expenses. You can't really justify including such costs under machine upgrades.
I see it differently. Our machines have been developed to produce a wider variety of products, to improve the running efficiency of the equipment, to keep us in business. This was a sizable investment on our part. The figure we're talking about shows the commitment we've made to the future. I mean, we're going to be getting benefits from these upgrades for years. Our balance sheet should show this.
I'm sorry, these figures are too material for us to ignore. There are some expenses which...
Companies do this all the time, and I might add, their auditors accept it. I suggest you consider this again. I'm sure you'll find it's reasonable when you think about how important these investments were to this company.
All right, we'll look at these costs again. Let's move on to the next point.
Unit 4, Exercise 6, Part 1.
Have you seen the latest?
What's that, about Megacorp plc?
Yeah, and it's not the only one. Every week there's a new scandal. It's going to change how we do our job.
How? Our role is only to give an opinion based on estimates. We can't review every little thing in detail.
Oh, come on. Investors expect financial information to be correct. And I think it's fair enough. If they find out that, I don't know, that assets have been overstated by 50%, then they're going to be annoyed. I would be too.
Part 2.
We don't overstate anything.
But we're expected to find these things. That's what we're paid to do.
Hang on a minute. Our job is to review the information provided to us by the management of a company. We have to assume that they're being honest. We're not police officers.
But...
Let me finish. Look, there are legal mechanisms to deal with people who commit fraud. The auditing profession has its own regulations, and investors trust this. It's tried and tested.
All I'm saying is that investors have a right to rely on the financial information they read, and we're paid to check exactly that. Self-regulation may not be enough, and the trend is...
I agree that it's a bit strange that we're paid by the same people who we audit, but it's always been this way, and I don't see how that can be changed. Do you?
Unit 5, Exercise 1.
I'm sorry, but the external accounts don't help me much. Doesn't matter if they're in English or Chinese. I need information from you, which will help me run this department.
What exactly would you like?
Well, for example, I need something which tells me about the profit we make on our customers, with some sort of breakdown based on the size of the company. I want to compare the money we make to the size of the customer.
Sure, we can do that. And how about the costs per customer?
Exactly. How much we spend on each customer compared to the size of their orders.
That should be possible.
Great. Also, the profit made per employee. I would like to know where we are profitable and with which employees we make our money.
You realise that this is going to be a lot of work for my department.
Yes, I know, but it's very important for me. Can I also have a complete breakdown of our overhead expenses and the allocation of them to each of the products that we sell?
OK. How would you like all this information to be presented?
In plain English, please, so that even I can understand it.
Unit 5, Exercise 7.
So, we've agreed that Sally's team will produce those figures by the end of the month. Got that?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'd like to move to the next item on the agenda, which is the budget for the upcoming year. Peter, would you please give a short overview of your research into the market and your conclusions?
Sure. As you all know, my department has been extensively researching the market and the economic conditions we'll be facing in the short term. It's quite clear that events of recent years have unsettled the market greatly. Both investors and consumers are convinced that it won't get better, probably for a long time. Investors are looking for solid companies, and consumers don't just throw their cash around like they used to. We think that the situation will remain like it is in the middle term. This is a time for consolidation, not expansion.
Simon, what does R&D think about this?
It's a pretty negative outlook. We've been working really hard to come up with some great ideas. And maybe now's the time to launch some of our new products.
And our investment programme has been ready to go for months. We can't just wait and hope that things get better. Our strategy has always been to lead the market, not sit back and cruise along.
Peter.
Ideas and investments don't mean cash in the bank. Consumers simply don't have the confidence to spend their money on fancy new products. And as for expansion, I think the good old days are long gone. We should be cutting back.
Sally, how do you feel about all this?
We're talking about budgets for the upcoming year. Everybody's forecasts seem to indicate hard times ahead, and we don't even have the money to spend. How are we going to service more debt or raise more cash in the capital markets?
So, despite our great ideas and investment plans, it seems the reality is that our budgets for this year will have to be tight.
Unit 6, Exercise 1.
So, can we agree at least that it will be most cost-effective to invest in an existing business? That way we will be able to utilise the local knowledge of the personnel currently running the business.
Yeah, I think so. The question is how exactly? Do we buy the company or only the assets? There's a lot to think about. For instance, the due diligence process, although that won't affect the mechanics of our acquisition. What will we have to consider, Alan? You're the international lawyer.
Lots of things. Takeover rules, European Union regulation on competition, and the accounting legislation. Dana, can you tell us something about that?
Actually, the accounting regulations aren't such a big issue. More important will be the effect of our acquisition on our balance sheet. The goodwill component is huge, and we have to be aware of the impact this is going to have. That'll be an interesting discussion with the auditors.
Ideas and investments don't mean cash in the bank. Consumers simply don't have the confidence to spend their money on fancy new products. And as for expansion, I think the good old days are long gone. We should be cutting back.
Sally, how do you feel about all this?
We're talking about budgets for the upcoming year. Everybody's forecasts seem to indicate hard times ahead, and we don't even have the money to spend. How are we going to service more debt or raise more cash in the capital markets?
So, despite our great ideas and investment plans, it seems the reality is that our budgets for this year will have to be tight.
Unit 6, Exercise 4.
If we're thinking about raising capital in overseas markets, the reporting requirements of those markets are obviously important. I've summarised some of the major points on this slide. Let's go through them briefly.
1.
It may be possible to measure all of these at their fair value, which would allow the recognition of unrealised gains.
2.
This may have been developed completely separately from the accounting systems and may provide considerable opportunities for taxation planning.
3.
Typical of these is the profit and loss account.
4.
This can be acquired or self-generated. Of course, it may have to be recognised as an asset if certain criteria are met.
5.
Here, we're talking about things which we don't actually own. They go back to their owners after a certain amount of time. They require different disclosure in the balance sheet, and the GAAP of different countries can require different classification, normally finance or operating.
6.
The methods used to measure this can vary considerably. The normal ones are FIFO, which means first in, first out, LIFO, last in, first out, or average cost, which is somewhere between the two. All give a different value for what we hold.
Unit 6, Exercise 6, Part 1.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Catherine Smithson. I'd like to thank you first of all for giving me the opportunity to come here today and talk to you about the international issues facing enterprises with cross-border interests. Although I am not an accountant, I hope to give you some information which will help you in your dealings abroad. If you don't mind, I would prefer to answer any questions you may have at the end. There'll be 3 parts to my presentation. I'll start with a short description of the general issues faced by managers today. Then we'll look at some of the issues in more detail, using some of the data I have collected. Finally, we'll look at how you can approach these problems and create successful international teams. There'll be a comprehensive handout at the end, so there's no need to take notes unless you really want to.
Part 2.
So, what can we conclude from all this? We all know that globalization has been a buzzword for many years now. All of us have been involved in or seen companies expand across borders, and we have seen some mergers collapse. I think that my research has shown that one of the main reasons for such collapses is that management has ignored the intercultural factors facing the members of teams working in an intercultural environment. I hope my presentation has made you aware of some of the factors which affect the ability of people from different cultures to work together. I will now be happy to take any questions from the floor and perhaps even discuss some of these issues further. Yes, the gentleman on the right.
Thank you for watching.